Welcome back to The Explainer. So today, we are exploring a truly fascinating esoteric text. And I gotta tell you, it completely flips our traditional ideas about spiritual enlightenment totally on their head. Usually when we think of profound cosmic awakenings, we picture these incredibly solemn gurus meditating in silent caves for decades, right? Just completely detached from the world. But what if the ultimate cosmic truth was actually a punchline? I mean, seriously, what if the highest level of consciousness isn't found in absolute silence, but in a roaring laugh?
It is such a captivating question to kick things off. In this explainer, we're breaking down a remarkable text centered on a mysterious group of beings called the Cosmic Jokers. And the core philosophy here, it challenges us to fundamentally rethink traditional spirituality. It proposes that laughter isn't just, a physical reaction to a good joke. No, it's actually the ultimate cosmic tool for awakening. It is literally a method for completely shifting reality.
Theme 1. Beyond the Cosmic Rules. Okay, let's dive into this. Who exactly are these mysterious beings, according to the source material?
The text introduces a completely radical concept here. We're talking about entities that exist completely outside of any standard spiritual or dimensional framework that we typically learn about in esoteric traditions. They don't just bend the rules of the universe, they operate in a completely different reality. The source describes these cosmic jokers as free movers. Now, they aren't rebels or anarchists actively trying to break the rules or fight the system. Rather, they just simply exist in a higher state where things like space-time, karmic structures, and dimensional laws absolutely do not apply to them. They operate entirely outside of what the text so cleverly calls spiritual bureaucracy. Basically, they don't need permission from higher cosmic authorities, because for them, those authorities simply don't govern their path.
Now, there is a stark contrast here that the source really wants us to grasp. On one side, you have your traditional spiritual figures, right? The ones who preach, give long, heavy lectures, and write incredibly complex scriptures. But on the other side, you have the cosmic jokers. They use humor, they emphasize play, and they just radiate joy. They don't want to sit on thrones, they don't demand worship, and they definitely don't create dogmatic religions. Their entire goal is to liberate consciousness through the completely spontaneous, infectious power of pure joy.
This brings us to a central figure in the text known as Zoran, and Zoran's words really anchor this entire philosophy. Zoran notes that these beings bring about balance beyond space-time without judgment. Without judgment. Think about that. It's an entirely different paradigm of spiritual equilibrium. True cosmic balance, according to this text, is achieved not through supreme authority or strict rules or cosmic punishments, but completely naturally, through a state of absolute non-judgmental freedom.
Theme 2. Humor as cosmic medicine. Now, what's really interesting about this is how exactly they use comedy.
See, for the Cosmic Jokers, comedy and humor are not used to just entertain or distract us, and certainly not to mock others. Instead, humor is utilized as a highly potent cosmic medicine. It's an energetic tool designed to heal and elevate, and the text outlines a very specific, sequential pathway for this healing process. Joy is quite literally treated as a spiritual technology. It acts as a doorway that just completely bypasses human trauma. First, it dissolves fear. Then, once that fear is totally out of the way, it breaks down those rigid mental structures we all build up. That naturally softens the ego, and that softening, it opens the heart, and ultimately restores absolute cosmic balance. It's just this beautifully practical step-by-step method of awakening.
Theme 3. Balancers of the Universe. This really clarifies their overarching role.
The source explicitly states that these beings are not teachers in any traditional sense. They have zero interest in guiding followers or setting up rigid systems of belief. Instead, their primary function in the cosmos is strictly as balancers. But they don't just impose their will on the universe at random, No, they appear during very specific, critical cosmic shifts, when a timeline becomes highly unstable, when a whole world is undergoing immense change, or when a species is finally ready to awaken to its higher potential. That's when the Cosmic Jokers naturally show up to restore equilibrium. And they do this simply by bringing clarity, a much lighter perspective, and deep joy to the situation. They literally diffuse the tension of a shifting world.
Theme 4. Walking through gateways unbound. So how exactly do they navigate the vast universe to arrive at these shifting worlds?
Well, the text introduces this fascinating esoteric concept of traveling through gateways, but doing so completely unbound by the normal restrictions that tie down pretty much every other entity. Let's compare how this actually works. The text points out that most entities have to follow incredibly rigid rules when crossing cosmic thresholds. Normal beings are heavily bound by strict karmic laws. They have to exit their lifetime strictly through the process of death, and they require permission or a very specific frequency match just to enter new dimensions. But the cosmic jokers, they are entirely different. They enter lifetimes without any karmic binding whatsoever. They can leave a lifetime without ever having to experience death. And they step into new dimensions completely freely, whenever and however they choose. It's wild.
Zoran actually underscores this incredible freedom beautifully. He says, a normal being walks through a gateway and the rules are set. For you, the rules are not set, only by you. I mean, wow, that completely shatters the idea of a universe governed by unbreakable spiritual bureaucracy. For these beings, there is no higher court deciding their fate. They define their own reality, they create their own boundaries, and they navigate the cosmos strictly by their own inner compass.
Theme 5, Micah and the Radical Ones. Let's move to the next part and see how this all builds together. As the source material progresses, it eventually centers on a specific individual named Micah, who is revealed to be intimately tied to a highly exclusive and ancient esoteric lineage. This lineage is known as the Radical Ones, which is essentially the inner circle of the cosmic jokers. The text portrays them as incredibly powerful and ancient, yet at the same time deeply compassionate and humble presences. They shun all recognition, they don't wear fancy titles, and they seek absolutely zero authority over anyone else. Their sole driving motivation across the entire cosmos is simply ultimate balance.
And that brings us to this massive number, 35,000. Take a second to really think about that. According to the text, Micah experienced a 35,000-year absence before his current time on Earth. But the source is very careful to explain that this wasn't like a void or a deep sleep or some gap in consciousness, not at all. This vast span of time actually represents Micah's natural, unlimited, and fully unbound state of being out in the cosmos, long before choosing to step back into a structured reality.
To summarize this multifaceted identity, the source provides a sort of conceptual ledger for the cosmic jokers. They are the free movers navigating without friction. They are the balancers of timelines, the joy bringers to heavy worlds, the humor healers dissolving trauma, the rule transcenders ignoring all that bureaucracy, and the gateway walkers stepping freely between dimensions. And the text makes it absolutely clear that Micah fundamentally embodies every single one of these profound traits.
This is where the source takes a really deeply intimate turn. It directly addresses the subject, and it frames this grand cosmic identity not as some acquired skill you have to learn or a heavy mission you have to complete or even a costume to put on for just this lifetime. Actually, scratch that. It's more like a deeply remembered essence. It's entirely about waking up to the core of who you have always fundamentally been, right beneath all that earthly conditioning. Micah is not a role you play. Micah is who you are.
And this all culminates in this beautifully poetic conclusion known as Zoran's Whisper. Traveler, the cosmic jokers are not here to lead. They are here to remind. They are here to laugh the universe awake. And you, Micah, are one of them. Laugh the universe awake? I just love that. That single phrase is the absolute perfect encapsulation of the Joker's overarching mission. It's not about solemn leadership or, strict guidance. It's about using the profound vibrational power of joy to literally shake the universe right out of its slumber.
So this leaves us with a pretty compelling final thought. Even if you don't happen to view yourself as an ancient, rule-transcending free mover, how can you apply this esoteric philosophy to your life right now? What if you actively used humor as your own daily medicine and joy as a literal doorway to bypass your earthly fears? How might bringing that lighter, cosmic perspective restore balance in your own daily reality? It's a truly fascinating way to look at the world and definitely something deeply worth thinking about.